So welcome everybody to this latest A2 video on 162 Maths, in which we will be discussing and introducing some new trig identities to help answer some of those more difficult trig equations and proof questions tested at this level. So at AS level, we work with the trig identities of that sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals 1 and that tan theta equals sine over cos theta. Now, using these identities with what we know about cosec theta and sec theta and cot theta, we can derive these new trig identities. And these are the trig identities that, again, are something that you are going to need to know off by heart. And what we'll do now is we'll go through how we can derive these trig identities from using the two that we previously met last year. Now, let's have a look at how these identities were derived. Now, the first one we're going to look at is cot theta equals cos theta over sine theta. And this one is pretty simple, and that's basically by using, so knowing, or should I say using, that we know that tan theta equals sine theta over cos theta. Well, if I then took the reciprocal of both sides, so if I take the reciprocal of both sides, then what I end up with is 1 over tan theta equals, and it's going to be 1 over sine theta cos theta. Now, if I take the right hand side to begin with, so what this basically is 1 divided by sine theta over cos theta. Well, when you're dividing, we just simply flip the fraction and turn the divide into a times. So it's 1 times cos theta sine theta, which is then just cos theta over sine theta. And if I took the left hand side of 1 over tan theta, well, I know that that is more commonly known as cot theta. So therefore, what we then have is that cot theta equals cos theta over sine theta, and that there is our first proven identity. Now, if we look at this second identity of that sec squared theta can be known as 1 plus tan squared theta, well, since we know that sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals 1, well, if I divided both sides by, let's say, cos theta, I should say cos squared theta, then what I end up with is sine squared theta over cos squared theta plus cos squared theta over cos squared theta plus, or should I say, equals 1 over cos squared theta. Now, another way of writing, let me just get a different colour, let's go for yellow. So another way of writing this is sine theta, and ahead of myself, so sine theta over cos theta all squared plus 1, because then that simplifies to 1, equals, and that's going to be 1 over cos theta squared. Now, from this we know that this is basically tan squared theta plus 1, and 1 over cos, well, that's just sec, so then that's just going to be equal to sec squared, going on with my handwriting today, sec squared theta, and there we've proved this second identity. Now, when proving this third trig identity, now this is very, very similar. So again, using the fact that we've got sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals 1, but this time what we're going to do, rather than dividing by cos squared theta, we're going to divide by sine squared theta instead. Then what we end up with is sine squared theta over sine squared theta plus cos squared theta over sine squared theta equals 1 over sine squared theta. Now, from this we can then just simplify, so this just equals 1 plus, and again what we're going to do is going to have cos theta over sine theta all squared equals, and then 1 over sine theta squared, because all those are the same thing. And then simplifying that, we have 1 plus, I should write equals there, so let's go for equals, like an arrow that goes from there. So cos over sine is cot, and that's going to be cot squared theta equals 1 over sine, which is cosec, and that's being squared, and there is our third identity.